Hello everybody, welcome back to Clear Surf Financial Education. So today I'm going to start talking a little bit about cryptocurrency. It's been in the news quite a bit, it's been on all the media outlets, and just give you my insight on what I see going on here. So first of all, Bitcoin has been obviously the most popular of all the cryptocurrencies, and it peaked out last Wednesday. Not a coincidence, it peaked out Wednesday, which is when Coinbase went public. So Bitcoin actually went 65,000 per coin. When I did the prior video back in December, it was right around 19,000. So look at that video. I said break up or break down. Wasn't sure at that time what it was going to be. And then Elon Musk got behind it and started putting $1.5 billion of Tesla's cash on their balance sheet into crypto, which just launched everything. Even some of the smaller ones like the Dogecoin, which I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. That was at 2 cents a share months ago when I first saw it. That one I did not have the heart to get into because people think 2 cents a share you can make a lot of money, and some people have. I've had an individual actually reach out to me and we talked about this and made quite a bit of money on it. But at the same token, what I want to make a point is that 2 cents doesn't mean it can't go to zero. It's just as likely to go to zero as it is to $1. Right now it's around 38. We'll come back then. So my point on Bitcoin is last week Coinbase went public, which is the largest brokerage, I guess, or largest place to go to buy cryptocurrencies. They list many currencies. I don't even know how many they list, but quite a few. And so everybody was piling in there. Now they no longer need to go buy Square or PayPal, Riot, or Mara, which is the four stocks that have been moving up the most just based on the cryptocurrency play. Whenever Bitcoin was up, those four stocks I mentioned would rally. Whenever Bitcoin would pull back, those stocks pull back. So now you have an alternative. You have Coinbase, and it's kind of ironic because if you watch ARK funds, Kathy Woods, which is the most popular advisor out there or money manager right now, picking these, call them momentum stocks or disruptive stocks more likely. She buys stocks that are going to be disruptive to the future. Tesla was her largest holding until last week. Whenever Bitcoin went public, she actually dumped a bunch of shares. I don't know how many exactly, but she dumped quite a bit of Tesla because that was her largest holding by far, and it had been up 700% in the last year. So she jumped out of there and bought into Coinbase and actually bought millions. I read millions and millions of dollars several days in a row of Coinbase when it went public at 250. The initial move last week, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, went to 429. And since it's been pulled back, it's been laying around 3.25 right now. So I would think any dip in there, she's probably going to buy more because she's looking at this as the way to play where she was playing Square, and that was a big piece, and Tesla. That was the two ways that she was playing cryptocurrency. Well, now anybody can get into Coinbase to buy cryptocurrency, or if you're a fund manager or a money manager, you can just start buying Coinbase now, which is, you're buying basically the broker that sells all these Coinbases. So I think that's going to be popular, but like with most IPOs, and this wasn't the traditional IPO, Coinbase actually did a direct listing. And what that means is insiders, when they listed it to the public, insiders were able to sell. And I read that the founder sold quite a bit. I mean, he owned, I think it was like 32 million shares, and he dumped a lot on the first day. So that doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't believe in it. That just means that he had been building this for years and he thought it wise to take some money off the table, which I would too, because you can always take that money off the table and diversify into other things. He can go out and buy, he can buy Apple or Microsoft or just anything he wants to, or maybe commodities. He can just diversify his portfolio, which would be a prudent thing to do. So like I say, most of these IPOs, these are even the direct offerings like this, they'll spike on the open. They're going to come and level off. All of them do. And then eventually they'll find their price where the big money managers and the big players will start seeing value. And where they start seeing value and start buying into this, that's where you're going to want to look into it. So just interesting. I just thought that was an interesting thing to point out, that there are many more ways to play. It looks like cryptocurrency is here to stay. And over the weekend, I read a couple articles too that mentioned about India. India is actually banning some of the cryptocurrencies. Now that's the largest populated country on the planet. 1.6 billion people live in India. So when they start making rules as far as cryptocurrency go, that keeps a lot of people out of the game. And oddly enough, over the weekend also, China started talking a little bit more about some restrictions and more regulations on cryptocurrency, which they have not mentioned this at all before. So you've got, basically almost half the world's population. There's over 3 billion people between China and India, of 7.5 billion on the planet. So that's almost half. That's quite a bit. Maybe 40%. That's a lot of people that are going to be restricted or not have access to it. But that doesn't mean people in the States and Europe and other places can't take their stimulus money, can't take the overtime hours they work or whatever it may be, and throw it into something that has an exponential explosion possible. Like I say, now you got Elon Musk out there. And getting back to Elon, so it was probably a few months ago he mentioned Dogecoin going to the moon in one of his tweets, and that Dogecoin basically was 2 cents a share. Now I did some research on this for someone that actually reached out to me months ago and asked about this, and I gave my honest opinion and said basically, don't put anything in this that you can't afford to lose, as a 2-cent cryptocurrency can go to zero much more likely than 50 cents or $1. Well, here we are. It went nowhere for quite a while, and then it seemed to break 5 cents, 7 cents, traded for a while whenever Robinhood started offering access to it. But you have to be careful, because last week, whenever Coinbase went public, I understand that Robinhood had some problems where some of these cryptocurrencies people wanted to buy, they couldn't, and also Coinbase. So Robinhood's still having its problems. It's still a growing platform. So I know it's one of the places you can go to buy some of these more speculative plays, and it seems like a lot of people are doing that. Whether it be a couple hundred or a couple $1,000, just throwing money at it and taking a shot. Just as long as you realize you're pretty much kissing that money goodbye potentially, that's fine. Especially now, because in the last week or so, it's been mentioned a few places, and this Dogecoin has literally gone from trading back and forth 6-7 cents to 38. I saw this morning is at 42. So sounds absurd, but let me give you just a little bit of information. If you go back far enough on Bitcoin, and I'm talking 10 years ago, 10 years ago, I believe it was, 10 or 11 years ago, I looked on the charts, you could have bought Bitcoin for 20 cents a share. So is Dogecoin the next crypto? Probably not, and I'll tell you the main reason is from day one, the Bitcoin, there's only 21 million ever going to be created. So you've got that scarcity where there's never going to be more than 21 million. So as it goes up, it's what someone else is willing to pay for it and take it off your hands, which is fine. But remember, it also works the other way. If this market starts to pull in, which the stock market has pulled in, this is the second day in a row, I'm looking at the futures now, that they're going to be down, second day in a row. And there's a lot of people saying maybe things have gone too far, where crypto is up, it's tripled in the last 6 months. Maybe it's gone too far. Maybe some other things like, some other stocks like Tesla have gone too far, or others. And now you're starting to see Kathy Wood's fund was down 3% yesterday. So she's in all these stocks that are the disruptors, but they're also the first ones to get hit. And whenever interest rates go up, that means those technology stocks have been getting hit. So it's all kind of playing, but now you have more ways to play it. So just be careful and don't put more into any one of these cryptocurrencies you can afford to lose. Obviously, this has made people millionaires. If you've got into, 10 years ago, if you got into cryptocurrency at Bitcoin at 20 cents or even 50 cents or $1, the Vanderboss twins, I guess they're called, they're known for this. They've been in this thing for so long. They've got such a cheap price. They were already millionaires because of their affiliation with Facebook and Zuckerberg's founder, but they put a ton of money into Bitcoin over the years, and they've made a lot. So Dogecoin, getting back to that, the thing about that is that was one that they keep creating more of them. So it was something like 125,000 more created every day or something. It was an insane number. So be very careful whenever you're creating thousands or even hundreds of thousands of something more of it, and the price keeps going up. It's not going to take a lot until people start taking money off the table. And unlike Bitcoin, where you have a steady 21 million, this Dogecoin, they're going to keep making more and more and more. So I watched a piece yesterday, and the founders were actually on there talking about it was created as a joke at first. Now, the founder did say he's happy to see people. It's sometimes their first exposure to cryptocurrency, which is good. And then some people are learning how to mine cryptocurrency, where they can take that skill and use it elsewhere. So he thought it was a positive, but he literally admitted that it was started as a joke, and he did it in his spare time because he was bored, and he picked a cute little dog, and he thought that would be, get some attention. Well, they've done a tremendous job marketing this Dogecoin, And here we are, a 2-cent Dogecoin a few months ago is now at 42 cents. Is it the next I don't think it's the next Bitcoin, because the fact they're going to keep creating more of them, eventually they'll run into enough people who bought it and want it, and they'll dump it, and I think a lot of people will get hurt. So if you're one of those people that were smart enough to buy it cheap and get out, good for you. That's probably the best way to go about this. Could it be traded going forward? Yeah, it's going to probably be volatile, so be careful. Anyway, that's it today. I thought I'd just bring it to you because it's in the media an awful lot about the cryptocurrency. So now you've got ways to play. You can look at Coinbase. I would look for Square and PayPal to move to the downside. Riot and Mara were moving down yesterday very hard. Matter of fact, Riot pulled back to 50% Fibonacci, which means it's lost half of its value in just a matter of a month or 6 weeks, something like that. It hasn't been too long. So anyway, until next time, take care.